Hey guys, it's Con for Hollywood Studios here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Diamondback, the B&M Hypercoaster at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. So starting off with the stats, it measures 230 feet in height with a drop of 215 feet taken at a 74-degree angle. The ride reaches a maximum speed of 80 miles an hour with a track length of 5,282 feet. So the stats for this ride are very good. They're very strong. It's a nice long ride. It's pretty tall, pretty fast, and the vertical angle is not terrible considering it's a B&M Hypercoaster. Most have like 68 degrees or 69 degrees. So this one's definitely a little steeper. But I know this is very unpopular, but I wasn't that big of a fan of this ride. Generally, I do like B&M Hypers. I've ridden Apollo's Chariot and Nitro other than this one. Apollo's Chariot is my favorite. I think it has some great airtime. It's a great setting, and Nitro's also very good. But this ride, I'm not sure why, but it wasn't the same. And I think part of that came from the fact that I only rode it in the morning because it hadn't warmed up yet. And the lines later on in the day were really long, and I wasn't impressed with it for my first ride, so I didn't think it was really worth waiting for. So I got one ride in the back row and another ride in the front row, and it was slow, if I'm going to be totally honest. I do think the splashdown was very cool. Of course, that feeling of going fast through the woods, it's very cool. But I don't know, I wasn't really that impressed with this ride. I feel like it was too graceful. It was not very intense. It did have a bit of a rattle. It wasn't terrible, though. Other coasters do have a bit stronger of a rattle. I'm hoping that when I get back to this park in about a week, 2 weeks, that my ride experience on it is better. But I'll go through the theme real quick. It's loose. It's very loose, but it's definitely present. The trains have a really cool carving on the front. It looks like a rattlesnake or just some kind of snake. It's really cool looking. And the front entrance has like a really cool signage, steep incline ahead and whatnot. And there are a couple things throughout the queue, and the picture station is also pretty decorated well. But getting into the ride experience, first you'll climb up the very big 230-foot lift hill. You get a great view of the woods and the rest of the park. Then you plunge down the 215-foot, 74-degree drop where you hit your max speed of 80 miles an hour. You go through a slight bank turn to the right on the ground, and you rise up into the first airtime hill. Again, because I rode it in the morning, I didn't really get airtime, but I'd imagine that once it warms up, it gets pretty good airtime. Then you're going to drop down and go up to another airtime hill, and then after that you fly through the turnaround. And then there's an airtime hill. You go through the helix into the mid-course brake run. It does slow you down quite a bit, but it's not horrific. And you drop down. You go through two airtime hills. Again, because I rode it in the morning, I didn't get airtime, but I can definitely see them giving airtime. Then you're going to go into an upwards helix that leads into the drop down into the splashdown. And I know this is unpopular. The splashdown was my favorite part of the ride. When I rode in the back row, I was with Logan from Coaster Kids, and I put my arm out behind me, and it was drenched. It was cool. I legitimately thought that was a cool part of the ride. And then you hit the brakes. So it's long. It definitely has some standard elements, but they are taken very well. But I don't really have much else to say other than I was a little disappointed by this ride because of how slow it was running. But like I said, in about a week's time, I will be riding this again after I visit Kings Island for my second time on the Midwestern Coaster trip. So I hope to get on this later in the day and maybe it's better. I don't know whether to ride in the front or the back, but it could also be because of these trains. I'm used to the regular trains, not the staggered trains like this and Intimidator and Behemoth have. So that could be a part of it, but I don't know. I thought this ride was okay. So for its final score, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not terrible, but it's not fantastic either. I've heard a lot of people give rave reviews about it, but I just don't see it. Hopefully I get a better experience on it in a week, but otherwise that's it for this video. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts of Diamondback. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.